So I was expecting to do an interview with Lemony Snicket, but
You must be disappointed.
I'll get over it. But
You've been disappointed before.
it's happened in life. Yes.
Your life has been a slow spiral down.
More of a fast.
You were
one.
going to do something with your life. What happened?
now
you're
I'm
just
talking to you.
Yeah, this is sad.
Yeah. Who are you?
My name is Daniel Handler. I'm
Hi.
sorry we didn't really
Pleased to meet you.
before.
All right. What happened to Lemony?
Well, Mr. Snicket is always nervous about doing anything that might look like it was encouraging people to read his work. So he's wandering randomly around Book Expo America, and you're forced to deal with me, his legal, literary, and social representative.
All right. So you're authorized to speak on his behalf.
More or less.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us about Lemony Snicket's new series?
I put
then?
the author into authorization.
All right.
Sorry, what would you like to know?
Tell us about Lemony Snicket's new series.
Why? Why would you want to know something like that?
It's kind of what we do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So is this how search engines are built? Is through personal interviews? I didn't realize this.
This is
So every time someone looks for something, it's because someone's been interviewed and then it's been entered into Google. That seems tedious.
there's a lot of Oompa Loompas working away at it.
Oh, well, that gives me comfort. I was worried there might be some labor issues, but if it's Oompa Loompas,
Yeah,
then it doesn't matter.
exactly.
So I'm sorry, I've got distracted.
Lemony Snicket has a new series, I
It's
believe.
true, he does, but I don't think I should talk about it. I think it's the kind of, secret information that people shouldn't have access to. I guess if it was only limited to Google users, it would be okay to say
We'll keep it a secret.
that there's a new series, and it's called All the Wrong Questions.
Okay.
It is a 4-volume series, and the first volume, the volumes are being released sequentially to try and dull the pain, the way you don't take a bunch of Advil all at once. Sometimes, I guess some people do.
And the first
You
one
could
is
probably find them on
the first one is called
Yahoo.com.
on what.com?
You could just look in your Hotmail account and get it.
You can Bing
You
it.
can go over to MapQuest.
Okay.
Yeah. The first volume is a question. All of the volumes are titled after questions, and the first volume is titled "Who Can That Be at This Hour?" which I think is something that a lot of people ask themselves
And
late at night, and then they perhaps go to a search engine to find the answer.
Yes. And Lemoney's
Hotbot, for instance, it's a good search
This
engine.
is just going to go on and
There are
on. like
wonderful
this,
search
isn't it?
engines out there. There's a big
Alta
one I
Vista.
can't think of. Some kind of huge number. 1,000?
Why don't we talk
Can't
about Harry
remember.
Potter?
Oh, if you'd like.
All right. So
There's something you can't find online.
actually you can now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a whole thing called Pottermore. You can get all the Harry Potter.
Oh, I
books
thought that
as
was just a
ebooks.
ceramics community. I didn't realize.
All right,
They like that scene in Ghost.
I'm gonna keep trying here.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
Lemony.
you have, it looks like 4 or 5 questions written in an index card. I would hate to see all that effort go to waste.
It's actually
Yeah, I
double,
could just
it's
ask
dou-
them
it's
myself, come to
double-sided.
think of it.
No, it's in code. You wouldn't understand what's
Oh,
scrawled
okay.
here. So Lemony Snicket is in this book.
Yes, he
He's a
wrote it.
character.
It's autobiographical. It's an account of his own childhood and apprenticeship in a secret organization.
All right. So I was going to ask how true these adventures are, but you just told me.
They're as true as Lemony Snicket himself, absolutely, yeah.
All right.
They're often puzzlingly filed in the fiction section, but being as no one in publishing appears to know what they're doing, it is, I guess, so puzzling after all.
All right. There's a line that jumped out at me
There
in
is?
this first volume. Yes. Knowing something is wrong and doing it anyway happens often in life.
Wouldn't you say?
I would. It struck me as very, very true.
Lemony Snicket wouldn't lie to you.
Okay. So there's a place called Stained by the Sea.
Yes, he spent his apprenticeship in a small, dreary town called Stained by the Sea. Difficult to find on maps, but perhaps some kind of satellite linking search engine could help with that.
MapQuest.
Yep, MapQuest again would be a good source of that, in which the town contains many mysterious goings on, and Mr. Snicket finds himself embroiled in a sinister mystery while serving as apprentice.
All right.
It's a hard time for him. He learns many sinister things, deep, dark secrets that he put in a book in the hopes that people would not learn about it.
Do you have an idea of
Yes.
Who do you picture as Lemony's average reader?
I think someone crying. I was at a hospital not so long ago because a baby had been born, and there was the room where they kind of stack all of the new babies, and they were weeping, and I realized then that obviously Lemony Snicket's books were even there in the hospital. So wherever you see weeping and pain, you'll find the work of Lemony Snicket, and by extension, Little Brown Books for Young Readers. Proud supporters of weeping and pain in the young.
In this first volume, there are lots of shout outs to other youth fiction.
Shout outs?
Shout outs, yeah. It's
I
you know
see,
we're,
yeah.
we try to stay hip. Here.
Yes, well, nothing says hip like an expression from 1995.
Hey, Emma Straub said, "What's up to you?" So
Yes, shout outs. I'm sorry, you were saying.
I was saying there are
I got
many
distracted by your dated slang. But I'm focusing now.
All right, there are lots
Shout
of
outs.
There are lots of learned references to other youth fiction in this volume.
Well, Mr. Snicket is quite widely read. Yeah, he doesn't, waste too much time online.
Do you have a sense of what he thinks makes for good youth fiction?
I think interesting stories told in interesting ways. Maybe where something terrible is happening or looks like it might happen. It's the same thing that happens interestingly in life, right? You might take a walk and nothing would happen, but then if suddenly a grand piano fell near you, you would be having the most interesting day. I think that's duplicated online. For instance, if you go to Google.com. I guess it's http://www.google.com, and you Google something like the number 3, it will be dull. But if you Google, otters attacking, you'll get something more interesting.
What if you Google?
It's the same with literature.
What if you Google Lemony Snicket? What do you get?
A lot of weeping and moaning, and occasionally disturbing fan fiction, I think.
And what if you Google Daniel Handler?
I don't know. I've never Googled myself. I wouldn't know. It's an interesting idea, actually, to see. You might learn something about yourself.
Hypothetically, what might you find?
I think a suspiciously meager literary career, almost as if he spends a lot of time writing books under someone else's name, or at least pretending to do so. What do you find when you Google yourself?
Really embarrassing
An
pictures.
angry ex-girlfriend blog, maybe?
No.
No?
All right.
Of course not.
There aren't a lot of...
Now I'm curious.
Well, you can Google me
Yeah.
afterwards. Or Bing. There aren't a lot of adults in the book, and the ones that do appear are kind of doltish. So how true to life do you think that is?
I think the majority of adults are either useless or sinister or both, in my experience. How about you? What would you say?
It's fairly accurate. I always.
Do you think it's a higher percentage of useless or sinister adults at Google or at Bing?
I don't know. I've never been to Bing, so I couldn't say.
But you could Google Bing and find out.
I've never
and
Googled Bing.
then alternately you could Bing Google.
All right. As soon as this interview is done, I'm going to Google Bing and Bing Google.
What fun will you have? Yeah, you'll be on a Bing Crosby fan site in no time.
All right. I think I've got time for one more question. So
I think we have tons of time. I think you're just interested in leaving. We only have time. No, I actually have the majority of the afternoon free.
I think I've wrung everything good out of you I possibly can. But I'm going to ask one more question
Said the Boston
anyway.
Strangler to his victim. You could ask one more question anyway. I'm ready.
All right.
Focus.
So for the last Lemony Snicket series, the Gothic Archies ended up doing some music for it. Is
It's
there
true,
any chance
yes.
of something like that happening with this one?
I think there's a very good chance, yes. But Stephen Merritt, the songwriter of the Gothic Archies, is often on the brink of being overwhelmed by despair. So this new series by Snicket might be the tipping point for him.
So yes, is
Yes,
basically
stay
what you're
glued
saying.
to Yahoo News to find out more.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It was a pleasure.
All right. All right. Excellent.
All right, we're going to film it?
Huh?
Oh.